Julius Yiega is the Chief Manager, Taxpayer Services, Domestic Taxes Department, Kenya Revenue Authority. Good morning.
Good morning.
Karibu sana.
Thank you very much.
You told us that you were an original Suba. If we've never seen, here it is. Why is it important that it was the original one?
Yeah, it's because there's a lot of confusion in this country when it comes to what I would call cultural identities. And I happen to be one whose paternal and maternal are really Suba. So that's why I'm saying I'm an original Suba.
You are the original.
The original one. So you're seeing one today.
Well, there you go.
Thank you.
And we're also having a conversation about things that people may have been confused about in the past, and that's when it comes to taxes. We're in tax season right now, and we're getting the messages, file your taxes before it gets to that date when, some other words that we would hear, which we would not really be excited about in terms of penalties and late payment, then come to start ringing in our ear. So it's good to have you in the studio. Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation. You're in the hot seat, and it's a hot topic today, so bear with us.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We'll be there for you.
It's going to be a fun ride. All right, so getting into tax season, and what would be the first message jumping out at us from KRA right now in terms of how to go about this?
The first message, which is very critical for me and for Kenya Revenue Authority, is first and foremost to let Kenyans know that as Kenya Revenue Authority, the management of the organization would really want all Kenyans to file their taxes, to file their returns. And it would be very important that as Kenya Revenue Authority, we clarify to people that taxpayers have obligations, because that's the starting point. As a taxpayer, you need to understand what is your obligation. And you as a taxpayer have got only 4 obligations to do. The first one is that as a taxpayer, you must be registered. Being registered means that you have a PIN number. If you're an individual, you'll have a PIN number starting with the letter A. So you'll have A0016993993T. That is mine. Yeah? So that's my PIN. So I'm a registered taxpayer. And then the second obligation is that as a taxpayer, I must file my return. Filing return simply means you are letting KRA know that in the year of income, you managed to make the following. You earned this, you did that kind of business. Now, the third one is to ensure that when you are filing your return, you give accurate information, accurate details, and at the same time, where need be, supply documentation to support the accuracy of your data. Now, finally, and that's why I say therefore, you make payment on due dates. All right? You make payment on due dates. So once as a taxpayer, and I'm happy I have 2 of you here, you understand those 4 obligations of yours, then you need to appreciate that we are expecting you to do those 3 things that I've said. I can see from the look of things, both of you have got your pins.
Oh, it's emblazoned on the forehead, isn't it?
But actually, you should be knowing it by heart, Just say you know your ID number, you know your phone number, okay? Even the PIN number is not very difficult to tell. Now, then, after saying those 4 obligations, there's something, again, very critical that you need to do. Did I say you give the accurate details?
Yes.
You did.
And did I say you give accurate information?
You did.
Now, finally, how do you give us your accurate detail? Where are you based? Where are you operating from? What is your contact? Are you having an email? Is it a current email? Somebody was using something like, you remember those Hotmail things? Yeah? And that's what you applied for PIN, using that, and you're no longer using it. So how can we reach you as Kenya Revenue Authority? KRA does not just take from you. There are times when KRA come back to you to refund you, but we can't refund you when we can't reach you.
So you're saying update your details?
Your details should be updated regularly, yeah? You're operating from maybe another place, and now you are blessed, my brother. You're now living in what I call
an
leafy
upmarket residence.
Yes, an upmarket residence. You've moved away from where people are. Yeah, you must really, you must let us know. And then finally, I wanted to let Kenyans know that KRA, contrary to a lot of opinions, is a very friendly institution. very friendly institution. In fact, we are here to ensure that taxpayers know their rights, because you as a taxpayer, you have your right.
I'm very interested to know,
Yes.
Julius, what are those rights? Because the truth of the matter, and I think we've had conversations about this previously, is that there is a lot of trepidation that is met.
There's a perception.
Yeah, because of this perception.
I think you said it will be very hot. I'm getting very good times. At least, luckily, I went to the university.
Oh, do you have a degree?
At least I have. I have two, and I'm getting a third one.
Oh,
so
fantastic. So, I mean, there's fear on the perception of what could happen if you are on the wrong side of rain with KRA. So, I mean, what are we looking at here in terms of what rights do you have? That can you go to KRA and say, look, this may not be, but can I have an opportunity to do this? Instead of being afraid that, the whip is coming out.
And let me say this. You are lucky that the person near you here today is the one in charge of customer feedback when it comes to tax complaints. So in the unlikely event that you feel uncomfortable with the treatment you're getting from Kenya Revenue Authority, Julius Yiega, seated next to you, is the head of taxpayer services, ensuring that a taxpayer is treated fairly, with the right value, with the right treatment, and all that. And so I'll give you an email address, which you don't have to come to us, by the way. As KRA, we really don't want you to come to KRA. What we want you to do is talk to us. That is why KRA has spent a lot of money in automation. So there's an email address, DTD. Muga, I hope those are very clear terms.
DTD.
For Domestic Tax Department. Yes. DTD complaints, as one word. DTD complaints at Kenya Revenue, at kra.go.ke. Now, when you have any complaint, when you have any issue of concern to you as a taxpayer, write to that email and we'll respond.
Okay.
I'll be receiving it myself and a host of my team. Yes.
So, I mean, there's something that you have mentioned. Then in the deployment of making these processes easier,
Yes.
was then digital,
automation. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So how then have you seen the direct link between this automation and then making things easier for Kenyans to do their due diligence?
Yes, Muga will tell you, because he has confirmed to me that he's real Kenyan, that a few years ago, this month, there'll be a long queue outside KRA premises, a very long queue, all the way from Uhuru Park, to Times Tower. You no longer see that. It
we even had people who would be paid to stand in line.
Yes,
to pay taxes for others. Yeah.
You would have fraudsters telling you that give something, And that's why when we came up with automation, so what was actually eliminated at Kenya Revenue Authority is corruption. Yeah? Because when you have one-on-one contact, then there are a lot of temptations. And it's unfortunate. Some of us don't like following straight lines. So you would say, please just pass me over or something. We say it with automation. That is a gone case. So automation has made it very easy for taxpayers to file their returns. By there, you can file your return on your phone. Seated here, you can file your return. More so if you're a nail filer. You just go to the KRA app. It's called M-Service. Yeah? You download M-Service on the Play Store onto your phone. Then you file, look for the KRA M-Service. You will have it, upload it on your phone. You can file nil return. You don't even have to worry about so many things.
Right.
Yes, so automation is the key for us.
It is key. So a lot of folks are running helter-skelter today to try and meet that June 30th deadline.
Yes.
So who's required to file taxes for this June 30th deadline?
You will recall that I started by indicating to you the 4 obligations. And as long as you are of age, you are 18 years and above, and you have a KRA PIN, you are supposed to file your return. Did you get that? So everyone with KRA PIN is required by law to file their return before June 30th. Secondly, if you are a company, you are also expected to file your return by June 30th. But I need to clarify, it depends on their company's accounting period. If the company's accounting period is between January to December, then it's expected to pay by June 30th to account for that your financial year, which has just ended. It could be that physical calendar year. You get it?
We're going to need you to repeat that, Julius.
Yes. Yeah. In other words, there are some companies whose accounting period is not January to December.
Right.
No. So when we have such companies, them, they don't have to file by June 30th, no.
Okay.
The accounting period is immediately your year end comes, you do 6 months after that year end. That's why it is very, very important to clarify that. Yeah. And, sorry, go ahead, Muga.
What I want to ask is, what people often deal with regards to matters, KRA, and not the reality of KRA, but perception. Perception in this sense. Taxes, by their very nature, are considered invasive in this country. And I'm going to explain why. They're considered invasive because what KRA does is collect them. KRA doesn't disburse the funds and decide what is going to happen to the funds. But unfortunately, because you are the collection agency, when we feel that our taxes do not meet the obligations that we thought they were for, the person we look to is KRA. Because they are the ones who came to us and said, we want this money. So if there's an issue with what we thought were services that were due to us as a result of our having paid taxes, we go to KRA. Now, just tell us, what has KRA done in the course of this year to communicate with their partners, who are the taxpayers, in a clear way, not just their mandate or obligation, but how it is KRA wants to make it easier for the taxpayer to pay their taxes, how it is that KRA allays the fears of the taxpayers regarding punitive measures should you delay in paying, because in the minds of many people, if I don't pay taxes by the 30th, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. They're going to come for me. And part of it is rooted in reality, because in a time gone by when I was a much younger person, letters that emanated from KRA could shake you to your very bone, because you would get a letter that makes you ask whether you should actually leave the country or migrate somewhere else. It was that effective in the threat that is issued. So what has KRA done to make it more user-friendly?
Thank you, Muga. As an organization,
Yes.
what we have actually dealt with a lot is culture change. Culture change. It is indeed true that such was in existence, but we must accept that we have to go by law. Muga, you told me yesterday I'll be here before 8.
Yes.
Can you imagine if I came at 10?
We would thank you for coming.
You may have met an empty room.
Yes. So what I'm saying that what I want Kenyans to know, or the taxpayers to know, is that KRA has made sure that the perception that used to be is done away with. That's why I indicated to you earlier on that we used to have people coming, lining up, queuing, wasting their time. So one of the things that has led to positive perception is the automation. Secondly, our staff themselves have been trained to treat taxpayers with a lot of humane. Because it's not that, even me, I'm a taxpayer. I'm a taxpayer. I also get refunded by KRA. So if I can walk there without my badge and those guys just talk to me like, I'm a nobody, I would also feel it. So what we have done in the past, we have done a lot in terms of culture change. By the way, in Kenya Revenue Authority, you are expected to live above certain standards. And that is why we have also put on our website what we call the charter, the taxpayer charter, which informs the taxpayer of his rights. You have your rights, which cannot be wished away just because somebody is a KRA officer. Those are documented. If you go to our website, you will see them. Another bit, because apart from those letters that used to scare you, an individual can also come to scare you, start putting his badge. You see, I'm from KRA, something like that. That would be very unfortunate. So in the unlikely event that somebody just picked this card of mine, I was coming over, and somebody just picked it from me and took off with it. Then he comes and flashes that to you. Just ask that person, tell me your ID number.
You should be able to give it.
To verify that is a genuine officer of Kenya Revenue Authority. But at the same time, apart from staff verification online, which is on the website, look at that KRA officer's behavior. How does he behave? Yeah. When I came here, what was my greeting to you? He said, do you pay taxes? Yeah. Because you see, that is what you expected. That a KRA officer will be asking you, are you tax compliant? But I was not demanding. Sikuja na rungu. No. Sorry, I only came saying, are you tax compliant? So what have we done? Culture change, I've told you that. Automation is that. And then the last one, which is very important. KRA pays their staff very well to attend to you. So don't be tempted. Some of you taxpayers, I'm told, also have this sympathy, that you want to give a KRA officer something, please. They don't need it. Yeah, they don't need it. When a KRA officer comes to you, let the officer do his work, answer the questions that you're supposed to be answering. Don't go for shortcuts, and let the officer go away peacefully back where he came from. And therefore, we have a policy. Because some of you, Muga, you look so user-friendly. If you want to give somebody a gift and it's a KRA officer, please, the officer must go and declare that I met Muga, who was so philanthropic, and gave me some. He has to declare that. It's a policy. Yes. You have to. Because if you don't do that, that is illegal. That is a disciplinary action.
Yeah.
Actually, we'll go home, So we are saying, please don't tempt our officers. Don't. So Muga, I believe you are getting where I'm coming from.
Yes,
It's a perception change. But there's something again you asked.
Yes.
It's important that we clarify this as Kenya Revenue Authority. KRA is in existence by law.
Yes.
And when KRA is in existence by law, it means that KRA has its mandate.
Yes.
We really want, by the way, if you guys wanted us to also be in charge of fund disbursement and see who has not used it well, we'll do it. But you see, we are not given that opportunity. And Muga, let me give you an example of what happened. I happen to belong to a certain church group, name withheld. And so one day I just told them, certain institutions have parked outside here. The guys were not worried. Then later on I told them, even KRA are around. I saw some people trying to run away, And I was like, why? They told me, those guys are very serious. They're very serious people. To me, it was both positive and negative. Running away is not what we are encouraging. But saying that we are working well, we really say thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
But then, Julius, on this matter of even those who are not working are still asked to file returns. And this is one question then that then invites this fear. If there is this looming possibility of a penalty, what am I filing if I'm not working? Number one. I could also get into the penalty status, again, still not working, if I'm not filing for a job that I do not have or for income that I'm not getting. These are questions that many people ask. And is there a way for such penalty then to be removed from an individual who honestly was not working at the time where such penalty may have come through?
Thank you very much. And let me tell you why you need to file your return. First and foremost, I told you it's a legal requirement to file your return. We're in this country together. Secondly, Muga and your colleague...
the name is difficult. Ndu.
Yes. That's why I was trying to avoid it, but I'll say, Madam.
Everyone who comes here has difficulties pronouncing it, but if you keep repeating it, by the third time you'll get
I'll
it.
get it. Yes. But I wanted to clarify something. We file, one, because it's an obligation. Two, you are all in this country together with me. You remember a story a few years back? It's not so many years back. I think it's 2 or 3 years back, where some people would find money in their accounts, or the accounts had been used to deposit some fraudulent funds. By the time they're being told that millions passed through your account. It's the same thing. Somebody can use your PIN to do business. When you file your return, KRA would be a very good area for you to even be able to counter-check. Because somebody can make use of your PIN, and he was given what we call a withholding tax certificate, which already will be in the KRA system. So we'll ask you and say, Mr. Muga, you did indicate that you didn't file anything. I mean, you didn't earn anything. But we can see company A did this business with you. That will let you know that somebody is abusing your documentation. So those are very critical things for us. So it is important that you file your return.
Whether you're earning or not.
Yeah. And let me tell you, I don't want you. I don't want you to stress this earning or not, because it will take me.
I think we must, Julius, though, because I think this is
Okay.
something that does invite, a lot of fear from a lot of people. That here we are getting to the 30th, somebody's not earning, and this is positive feedback for you as well.
Thank you. Thank you. I
that there are
accept.
many people who are not earning, but here we are being asked to file a return on what exactly, and then I may then get into a situation whereby there's a penalty on earnings which I never had in the first place because I didn't file returns on earnings which I never received.
I'll respond,
Okay.
so that we don't lose the point. Penalty, yes. If you're an individual and you didn't file your return, we penalize you 2,000. Now, if you're a company, you didn't earn anything, we penalize you 20,000. But if you can be able to prove with documentation, that's why we are here.
Okay.
Proof with the documentation that this really didn't happen. Kenya Revenue Authority has got a process of waiver, so it can be waived. Okay? It can be waived. It is not cast in stone.
Okay.
We have that, possibility, the provision in law also of waiver. So that is done.
Okay.
I've actually told you why it is important to file, because so many people have been going through those problems where they find that people have used their things or not. Secondly, it is always good to be tax compliant. You might have not earned anything during that year. But who knows that even in November, luck comes your way. Everybody have luck coming their way. Yeah? And you get a business that requires that you become tax compliant. And you lose that business. That's why we are encouraging even the young people. Yeah? Because we know there are people who say that they are only university students, they are not making any business. But I can tell you, not like my days when going to the university was just dancing there, writing, sleeping. No, it's not like that anymore. Now we have virtual systems.
Indeed.
I can tell you without mentioning, my own children at the university, and they are doing very well.
They're
I have seen
enterprising.
that. Yes.
Okay.
Because they're able to do work. So we tell them, file your return. And they do.
And they do.
Yes.
On that note, let's take a break. Let's take a look at weather and traffic, and we'll come back and continue this very important conversation of what you need to do by the 30th of June, and then what KRA is asking you to remember the year through. Julius Yiega is with us in the studio today, and he's the man when it comes to this.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Continuing with this conversation, a very important one in the Situation Room this morning, and looking at taxes and obligations and what needs to be done with them. The Chief Manager for the Taxpayer Services, the Domestic Tax Department, Julius Yiega, is in the hot seat this morning, and we continue with those important questions.
You've mentioned something thrice now. KRA refunding. What are the circumstances that would arise that would make KRA refund you money when we know that their job is actually to seek and to take money from you?
Good. You just filed your return. I want to believe now that I'm seated with you people here, don't tell me you've not filed your return because it was started from January. But in the unlikely event that you in the likely event, Muga, that you file your return, you realize that the iTax, that is our KRA system, will be able to calculate for you your status. If you see a negative figure at the bottom, it means KRA owes you money. You file the individual return. Yeah? See your status down there. If it is positive, you owe KRA money. If it is negative, KRA owes you money. And that qualifies for a refund. Secondly, you are doing some business. Okay? And let's say you've not been having any earning. I want to connect it to what Indo said.
Yes.
Indo just get some management consultancy, one of thing.
Yes.
And let's say 200,000. And that's the only amount of money you've earned in the year. The company that gave you that consultancy withheld 5% of that much. And they'll send that certificate to KRA, notifying KRA that Indo did some work with us. But if that is the only amount of money you've earned in that year, you remember the threshold for somebody to file return and pay tax, if it is from income, is 24,000 per month.
Per month.
24,000 times 12, That is 240 plus 48. You get what that is? 288. But you realize that Indo's amount is less than 288,000, which qualifies you to pay tax. So whatever tax that was given to KRA by the person who gave you the job should actually be refunded to you, because you did not meet the threshold to qualify as a taxpayer. Are we together up to that point?
Up to that point, we are
Something
together,
else.
Let me just clarify something. So what you're saying is that the sum total of what the person who gave you the job deducts from you, the withholding tax as we call
Correct,
it,
yes.
it has to amalgamate to a certain amount
Thank you.
for you to qualify, or for you to be qualified as somebody who ought to pay tax.
Not the withheld.
Yes.
I want that to be very clear.
Yes.
I've said that the gross income for you that year
Yes.
was 200,000. That is the only amount of money you've earned in that year
Yeah.
of income.
Yes.
You realize that 200,000 is less than 288,000, which is the threshold upon which somebody earning income is supposed to pay what?
Tax.
So for that matter, even that 5% that the guy took from you should have not been taken from you. So you should have been given 20,000 in full. So whatever was given to us, in whatever percentage, what is 5% of 20,000?
5% of 200,000.
10,000.
Yeah. You went to school, guys.
I did.
This is good. Really, this is good. Now, what I'm saying is that that 10,000, KRA should refund it to you.
Okay.
And that is why it is important to know that something else. You've done business, yeah, which includes certain obligations that require things like VAT and all that. But you know the turnover that qualifies one to pay VAT is 5 million a year. And let's say the business you've done is less than that. You should not pay because you don't qualify. So, you know, these are the things that we are saying that please come to KRA, talk to KRA, listen to KRA. And by the way, Mr. Muga and Madam, I'm the one also in charge of taxpayer education. So I'm so happy that you be calling me every day, by the way, because I need taxpayers to know their rights and obligations.
Yes.
Because we also teach daily. Even now, my officers are teaching virtually, even now. And the challenge we have is that very few Kenyans are listening to these classes. By the way, you will be surprised that you may be so rich here because government owes you money. And this is why you need to file your return. So now you understand why I was talking about that.
Yes.
Something else. You are here. Your employer does not know that Muga, through some good Samaritan, or he was doing these things that people are doing these days, and is having a mortgage, which is not captured in your pay slip. Give us that detail while filing your return. You qualify for a refund, an exemption of 300,000. Yeah? Someone living with a disability qualifies for refund because the first 150,000 shillings in his salary is tax-free. Are you getting that? Now, those are things that our people need to know. And you qualify for a refund. So, Muga, did I answer you right?
You did, but in answering my question, so...
you want to raise another one?
I'm querying, really, just so that I can get clarity.
Yes.
For instance, when you say disability, what is the threshold for disability?
We are saying it is also in law. People living with a disability are registered by the National Council for People with Disabilities.
Yes.
So they are given a certificate, they are given a number. When filing your return, the Act allows that the first 150,000 is tax-free.
That is 150,000 per month.
Per month, yes. Is tax-free, which comes to 1.8 million. So he's given free of 1.8 million. And I know there are so many colleagues of mine, our children, our fathers, our brothers and sisters outside there who may not know that that is their right. As long as you have an income, you need to know that you are not supposed to pay. Yes, that. And I've said income.
So what happens? Let's look at years gone by, Julius.
Yes.
That there, I'm sure, then very many individuals who are unaware of these particular. Because I don't believe that 2022 is when this, issues have come about. That there have been many years gone by where individuals have not claimed what belongs to them. Where do all those funds go?
Oh, they're in the government. But that is why you are able to claim up to 5 years backwards. So we are saying, if it goes beyond 5 years, then that becomes a different issue.
Yeah.
But now that it is within 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, you're still free to claim. That is why in filing return, the filing system allows you to amend your return. Muga, this is important for you. You amend your return, because I'm suspecting that during these days when there are a lot of activities, you being a bright man, maybe somebody has given you something to do for them, a poster or some policy, those kind of things. So please, don't hide that information from KRA. And really, I really want to stress to Kenyans that KRA is user-friendly. And I'll stress that word, user-friendly. Please come to us. Call us. Let us know. Sorry, Indo, I don't want to forget this one. You said, why should they file? There's another bit of it.
Yeah.
Your employer can be taking money from you. Yeah?
Pay as you earn.
Pay as you earn.
Pay as you earn.
Yes.
All of your other statutory deductions,
obligations.
NSSF, etc.
And unfortunately, they are not remitting. Did you get that?
Yes.
They are not remitting. From your pay slip, it is deducted, but they are not remitting. That is why we are asking you to also file your return, because from your pay slip, you will be able to capture the true detail of what was deducted from your payment. And that's why you realize that there are some people who, after retirement or something else, KRA tells them that you owe us money. And then he says, but I'm only an employee. How? It's because what was submitted or what was remitted and what it is not the same. And there will be that positive figure coming down there. And so that would give you an opportunity to know that something was not done correctly. And maybe you'd want to ask me, if that is the case, how do you let KRA know that this has happened? Muga, I told you me ni mwalimu, so you're getting how those steps are coming.
I appreciate the fact that you're a mwalimu, because my next question has to do with that role that you play. Do you have a program that takes into account the education of Kenyan citizens from a young age up to secondary school and maybe to university about these obligations and understanding the importance of taxes and the importance of participating in the process of actually paying taxes? Do you have such a program?
Thank you, Muga. We do have. I'll explain to you there's a slight difference. I told you I'm in charge of taxpayer education. I also have somebody else in charge of tax education. I want you to get the difference. Tax education program runs with, in conjunction with the KICD, that is Kenya Institute for Curriculum Development, and Kenya Revenue Authority, have developed books together, where these books cover secondary education, to an extent primary education, and even universities, where those young people are made aware that they need to pay their taxes when they become citizens. We haven't gone further to come up with what we call centers of excellence. So there are certain schools that have been picked to be centers of excellence, and this is based on their performance and their centrality in those regions. So we have about 8 schools, I'm not sure, but there are quite a number of schools in various parts of the country where schools can go there to learn those activities. So we have that program. But I wanted to let you know the difference. Tax education is for that group. You realize they are not yet paying taxes. But taxpayer education, which I deal with, is for those who are paying taxes. Those programs also do exist.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now, the tax education is not your docket, but I have to ask the question.
Yes.
You have books, you have a program. How do you ensure that whatever the message that you purpose to send forth is actually understood? And is there a measure where you can determine, because at the end of someone's education, they do get to a point where they earn an income. So, in my mind, the manifestation of this particular process would be evidenced in the outcome. So, do you have a way in which you measure this outcome?
Thank you. The outcome is measured through tax compliance. That those who are entering into the work market purely from the universities, what is their level of compliance? Are they complying? Are they not complying? If they are not complying, then we are able to tell that our message is not reaching out, is not being gotten clearly by those people. Something else, in those debates of theirs in those schools, they have competition amongst themselves. And that is a good way of knowing whether they understood them or not. So we even have those young ones visiting our centers, visiting our offices in the regions. Yeah, I saw recently Nakuru High School visited Nakuru KRA offices. Yeah, that is an example of how those programs are running. But what you've said, which is very important, and I'll share this with my counterpart, is that what programs are we putting in place to ensure effectiveness of the program? But that's a very good aspect of it. I'll share it with him so that we can see if there's a weakness on that, we can improve upon it. But that's a good one, a positive thing for us.
Okay.
Yes.
Even as we look at the failure then of paying, or rather filing returns being detrimental in terms of penalties, is that just it? Is that what else could be an issue then when it comes to the non-filing of returns and you get a penalty? Is there something else that could be a problem for taxpayers?
Yeah, and that is why I told you from the beginning that we do tax education, taxpayer education. Why? If the system is a challenge, it can lead to somebody giving up in filing a return. We are talking about an Excel sheet for those who are employed. Maybe not everybody is comfortable with Excel. Are you getting that? And that's why we see to it that as taxpayer education of Kenya Revenue Authority, we offer opportunity for training our taxpayers. And luckily these days, by the way, this has even created job opportunities. If you go to YouTube, even just where you're seated, and just write filing tax, you will see so many young people, and we are really happy. We are so encouraged seeing them showing you, demonstrating to you how to file the return. Something else is lack of knowledge, you know. Moga, I do not know whether you are a believer, but you know they say my people perish due to lack of knowledge. And that is why as Kenya Revenue Authority, we thrive in sharing with you knowledge. You see? And I'm saying this because without knowledge, proper knowledge to the taxpayer, they will not comply. They will not be compliant. So we need to tell them due dates. And Muga, I need to clarify here so much because I've not talked to you about tax obligations or tax heads. You've heard of turnover tax, popularly known as TUT. You've heard of VAT. You've heard of pay as you earn. I will be of this service to this country if I left this beautiful studio without talking about the due dates, because that is what they say. Indo, getting it, was asking. If you do not know that the due date is on 20th and you are a VAT payer or you are a turnover tax payer, yeah, or you pay rent or income, then of course you will become non-compliant and that will lead to penalties. So it is KRA's obligation to ensure that the taxpayers are informed. And that's why I'm so happy that I'm here. I'm now informing taxpayers of the due dates. For turnover tax, due date is on 20th of the following month. So, you know, Muga, KRA is so good. It's even giving you an opportunity that whatever business you did last month, you will pay it on 20th of this, the following month. Now, these are the advantages we are saying that people need to take. Even VAT, you'll be paying it on the following month.
So you have
a
chance.
Yes, you have a chance.
For time.
20 more days.
You have 20 days to file. Can you imagine? 20 days to file your return. If it is pay as you earn, the due date is on the 9th. Now, those are very, very important. Those are knowledge that the taxpayer must know. An employer must know. Muga, you look, for example, like someone who can have security team in his compound, you know, so that, in other words, you qualify to be an employer. If you're an employer, Muga, and you are paying people 30,000 per month, then you know you fall under that threshold of being a withholder of pay as you earn. Yeah. Now these are things that we must tell our people. So don't just have people in your compound you are paying them, you are not declaring, and KRA could be owing you money. Are you getting that? Now, that's why we are training people. That's why we are giving this information. Yes, Indo.
We're at a time whereby physical meetings have been largely constrained. And how did KRA, or how has KRA over the last, give or take 2.5 years, made it easier for taxpayers to have these meetings when normally I would need to come to KRA to get something sorted out, but then now I'm restricted by oftentimes lack of movement. We're seeing at a time now when, cases are going up.
Yes. And Muga, I told you, I used to do what we call seminars, People would come into a hotel, take mandazi, take tea, all that.
Yes.
Of course, that was a cost. But through God's grace, and I say it's God's grace, though I know we have to say apologetically because we lost colleagues as well.
Yes.
We adopted to the new changes. In fact, we have embraced changes by ensuring that we now embrace technology to do that. So virtually, I train people. And I can tell you, the other day I was training medical doctors virtually. And you know how many people attended the meeting? 880.
At a go.
880 doctors at a go. LSK, lawyers, about 350 at a go. Pharmaceutical Society of Kenya, about 340 at a go. If I was making physical meeting, how many would attend? Now, this is why we are saying, sorry about that. This is why we are saying that we have to embrace technology. So KRA has done that. Apart from just virtual training, we have also made sure that we have our social media accounts. So you can find some of our small videos attached, giving you information on what KRA is all about, talking about the due dates and all that. Lastly, we can also come to you positively. That is on invitations. You've invited us. And then through email, when we realize that you are a nil filer, a non-filer. Do you hear the difference? A nil filer, a non-filer, a credit filer, a payment filer. Now, that is what is going to happen at the end of this 30th. Nil filer are those people you are defending, Indo. You're defending some people that, these guys don't earn anything.
Yes.
Yeah, but we're asking them to file a nil return.
Essentially, you're saying you don't need to have earned to file.
No. If you didn't file, if you didn't earn, be a nil filer.
Yes.
Just meet the tax law.
Yes.
You've filed. But you file a nil for return. Now, there are these guys who file, the guys we call non-filers. That is someone who has a PIN, is registered, but he doesn't care. He doesn't give a damn. In fact, that's why, I may not be right, but I believe it's factual. That is why sometimes, even when funds are lost, you don't see Kenyans demonstrating. They are not annoyed. And why? I'll surprise you. Do you know how many people pay taxes in Kenya or file return? Last time it was only 6.3 million.
Compared to how many which should be paying? What's the number that you're comparing this to?
Since Muga saw this well ahead of me, and he knows that Kenyan population is about 50 million, let's take that 20 million are children.
No, let's take that more than 20 million are children.
No, more than that is not mathematical. Now let's put it mathematically.
Yes.
Let's say that 15 million are 18 years and above.
Yes.
But because from the database
Service.
of IEBC.
Yes.
No,
You're
IEBC.
talking about IBC.
IEBC. What are they saying we have now as voters? Over 20?
Million.
Over 20 million. Those people should be able to file their taxes. And we are saying that we'll request them to file their taxes. Since this is law, sometimes, Muga, that's why sometimes it forces us to be a bit kindly with some people, for a lack of a better word, Sometimes we have to go for you. That's why we call it enforcement. Yeah? Because you can imagine 20 million Kenyans, and only how many millions are filing? 6. Don't you think there's something wrong?
Part of it is, as you said correctly, ignorance, because for the longest time, filing was associated with earning an income.
Yes.
And there are people, even of that 20 million who've registered as voters, who don't earn an income.
Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed.
They've just attained the legal age
Yes.
of
Yeah.
being able to be registered as a voter and
Agree.
have an identity card.
Agree.
Yes.
Yes.
So until and unless they understand that it's not the income that defines you,
No.
it is
The legal requirement.
The
Yes.
legal
The
requirement.
The legal requirement.
Yes.
And why are we saying legal requirement? And Muga, please, and Indo, make it a habit of calling me here. You know, I feel so good to talk to Kenyans.
This is great.
Because where am I coming from? Civilized societies would want to live in civilized systems.
yes.
You know, I can tell you this morning, I used a train, commuter train.
Yes.
And I'll shock you how much I paid from my house till here.
Please shock us.
60 bob.
Fantastic. You know, it's interesting that you
So-
say that. Now, as we're coming to the end of the hour, it really does go very fast.
Oh, my.
Some vital gems that you've shared with us this morning in terms of what folks ought to know. I mean, in really a short period of time. Again, tell us what that email address is, because there's some folks who are asking, people who really do want to talk to you directly and
Yeah,
find out what they ought
should
to do.
talk to me.
If you could do that for us.
DTD for Domestic Tax Department. So the initials, DTD.
Small letters or
Small letters. Complaints as one word. Muga, I saw you wrote it.
yeah, I have it. I can even tell you DTB complaints.
No, why do you say DTB? DTB is Diamond Trust Bank.
You
Muga.
said DTD. You heard B. I'm insisting. Actually, I did say B. I did say B. DTD complaints
At
KRA.go.ke.
That's very important. And please, our first one.
Yes.
Turnover tax. This was meant to address the small and medium enterprises.
Got
the
it.
micro. You know, those people who do small businesses. And we are saying if your turnover is between 1 million to less than 50 million,
Let us know.
let us do turnover tax.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Julius.
you.
Thank you for joining us.